in the kitchen today. We're going to be doing a New Orleans favorite. It's actually a classic cream soup. We're going to be doing an oyster artichoke cream soup. Unbelievable flavors brought together here in this classic New Orleans dish. We're going to start off with some fresh oysters. We have about 24 fresh South Louisiana oysters. We're going to be using some half and half, which is half cream, half milk, about a stick of butter we're going to be using. We have one whole onion. We have some green onions that we're going to garnish with. We have one clove of garlic. And we also have some fresh parsley for garnish. A little bit of cracked black pepper. A couple cans of artichoke hearts. A little bit of salt. Some Parmesan cheese. And some Zatarain's Creole seasoning. We'll get this stuff cut up. We'll get it in the pot for you and show you how we start to put it together. Alright, y'all. We have one onion chopped up coarsely, 3 cloves of garlic chopped up coarsely, 1 can of artichoke hearts quartered and chopped up fairly coarsely as well. Alright, y'all, I mentioned that we had chopped 1 can of artichoke hearts fairly coarsely. What we're going to do with this last can is puree it. That's going to give us the artichoke flavor in our soup as well as create a rich, thick base for it. So in my food processor, I'm just going to throw the whole can of artichokes in there and go ahead and pulse it a few times till we get it pureed down to a very creamy, rich consistency. I would say that's it. As you can see, it's pretty much all coarsely ground up, pretty rich, pretty creamy there. Not much still holding together. It's mostly just a puree. Alright, y'all. Now that we have everything pureed, chopped, and pulsed, we're going to start getting it all in the pot for you. We're going to start off with that 1 full stick of butter. We'll let that come or melt down. Now we don't want to brown that butter. We don't want to get it too hot. We're just going to be using this to get our onions and garlic transparent, translucent. Alright, let's go in with our onion. And we can go in with the garlic at the same time because we're not really browning this. We're just going to simmer this slowly till this becomes all translucent and starts to sweat out all of its flavor. Oh, coming along nicely. I did reduce the fire to a low flame because, like I said, I don't want to brown this. We just want to reduce those onions and have them start to break down and become transparent. That's going to be part of the soup base. One other thing I didn't mention is we are going to be making a blonde roux here with this butter. I forgot to mention we'll be using about a 1/4 cup of flour to make that roux once we get this stuff broken down a little bit. Alright, y'all, we're going to add a little cracked black pepper to it. Probably just about a 1/2 teaspoon to start. A little salt as well. I would say again about a 1/2 teaspoon. And a little bit of the Zatarain's Creole seasoning, also about a 1/2 teaspoon. We'll taste this towards the end and see if we need to add anything to it. Alright, here goes that 1/4 cup of flour. We'll probably turn up the heat a little bit here. And we're going to turn this into a blonde roux, just stirring that in. We're going to be using this as more of a thickening agent. But we don't need too much flour because we have other thickening agents going in. For instance, the puree and the Parmesan cheese. That's why we didn't do equal parts flour, equal parts butter or fat. As with any roux, you want to constantly stir. Make sure that it's not burning or sticking to the bottom. Like I said, we don't want to get this too dark. And part of the darkness here is from the cayenne pepper associated with the Zatarain's Creole seasoning. We really haven't browned this much at all. Man, that just smells unbelievable. I wish y'all could smell that. Alright, that's about the color I was looking for. Not too dark. And again, some of that is going to lighten up when we add the cream. We didn't brown this but maybe 5 minutes at the most. So now we're going to go in with the remaining ingredients, oysters last. Here goes the quartered artichoke hearts. We have 1 pint of half and half that we're going to stir in. Now we might have to use a little more half and half. It just depends. I'm going to check this for thickness as we go. Now we're going in with our artichoke puree. We're going to let this simmer for a little bit, probably about 10 minutes with the lid on. Then we'll check it for consistency and see if we have to add any more cream. Then we'll go in with the Parmesan and the oysters. Then it'll be time to eat. Man, this is looking delicious. Alright y'all, this has been simmering for about 10 minutes. And as you can see, it has thickened up a good bit. And that's way too thick for a soup. So we're going to be adding more cream before we put our oysters and Parmesan cheese in. Alright, another pint of cream here. I think it's going to take the full pint to break this down to the consistency I want, because we still have the Parmesan cheese to go in. Let's return this to a simmer, and we'll see where we are as far as our thickness goes. Alright, this is looking great. It's about the right consistency for soup. We're going to go ahead and add in our oysters and our Parmesan cheese. There's also a little bit of oyster liquor in there. Quarter cup of Parm cheese. Get all this stirred in. Bring it back to a simmer. Let those oysters cook till the edges curl. This will be done. Alright y'all, this is simmered for about maybe 7 minutes or so. Once we brought it back up to a simmer. As you can see, if you look at that oyster, all the edges are curled nicely. This oyster is done. It's ready to eat. The whole soup is complete. I think it came out delicious. It's the right consistency. That's another one that you can see that the edges have curled up beautifully. You don't need to cook these too long. If you cook them too long, they get rubbery. It is ready to go. What we'll do is put it in a bowl for you and show you what it looks like. That's it. Plate it up, folks. Pretty straightforward dish. A few ingredients, not hard to cook. Absolutely delicious. It is a fantastic, very rich Southern New Orleans dish. You can't get enough of this.